welcome back to the Balanced and Built podcast. I'm Morgan.
My name is Shay.
And today we have a really exciting topic for you guys, cycle syncing, how to work out based on where you're at in your cycle, and all things hormones.
Before we get started, we want to thank everybody so much for all your support on our first couple episodes. We are really happy that you guys are enjoying the podcast, and we appreciate all of your feedback. So be sure to subscribe to our channels, download the episodes, and as you can see, we are in a little bit of a new studio, which we're really excited about. So that is great. And also, you guys, I just want to give a forewarning. Right now, I am in peak week for my last bodybuilding show of the year, and so if anyone listening has ever been in prep, you know how cognitively foggy, I guess would be the most polite way to say it, that you can be. So I am going to try my best to keep up with these episodes, but I just want to apologize in advance.
I'm sure you'll still be on your game. You
We
always
got
are.
this. Listen, I'm going to try. All right, what do you want to start with cycle syncing? I'm excited to learn about this topic too because I don't know enough about it. So.
Okay, so I want to go into the 4 different phases of your cycle. I feel like that is not something that we are taught as women, and I think that it should be taught in health class in middle school. But I digress. But before that, I just want to talk a little bit about the difference between men versus women's hormone cycles because I think that helps to kind of set the stage. So if you don't know, men operate on a 24-hour hormone cycle, which means that every single morning their hormones are doing the exact same thing, and as the day goes on, you know, their testosterone and cortisol lower, and then they go to sleep, wake up, and the same exact thing happens over and over again like clockwork on a 24-hour basis. Women, however, are on a 28-day cycle, as we know. So we have 4 different phases throughout those 28 days. And when I say 28, you know, it's different.
Yeah, obviously it varies a little bit.
That's just like the general. So we are operating on a 28-day schedule. So our hormones are doing something different throughout the month, and we rinse and repeat every single month. So I guess first, let's just go into the phases and then we can talk a little bit about how to work out for each phase, and you can talk about it from a
bodybuilding perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can obviously give my input from like the bodybuilding perspective, but like obviously we said we want to start with the 4 phases. To be honest, I feel like the only one that I know is like the luteal phase. Am I even saying that right?
Yeah, luteal.
Okay.
I hear it both ways.
Okay, well that's fair.
That one has been so like popular on TikTok for some reason.
Yes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not even gonna distract from what we're gonna talk about, but yes. So why don't you talk about what the 4 phases are? Let's define what they are, just so like number 1 I can understand, and then like the audience can kind of get where we're going.
Yeah. So number 1 is gonna be menstrual phase. So that starts the first day of your bleed. First day you get your period. That's gonna be day 1 of your cycle. And that's going to last for, you know, depends on the person, 3 to 6 days, depending. And at this time, your hormones are actually all at their lowest. So a lot of times people are saying that women are hormonal on their periods, but it's actually the opposite. Our estrogen and progesterone are all at their lowest.
Okay, fun fact.
Yeah.
Like, I actually feel good when I am on my period. It's prior to the period, and then like right after, like the last day of my bleed, like then like a couple days after that, I am like
interesting,
awful. But during my period, when I get it, it's almost like, you know, when you're like, you know, you have a headache and then you take ibuprofen and then your headache goes away. That's like what it is.
Relief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I get my period and all of a sudden I'm like, ha. 1, that's why I was acting crazy. And number 2, man, now I feel so much more relief. So
no, I feel the same. That phase, well, I'll get to it, but the phase right before your period is luteal, and that is typically when people experience their most PMS symptoms and stuff like that. And I agree. As soon as I get my period, it's like, oh, finally, like, A, now I know why I was acting like that last week. B, I just feel so much better, and there's a whole, like, spiritual component to that. You know, you're shedding the lining of your uterus, you're kind of like releasing things, detoxing, so that can kind of be why you feel like better.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into phase number 2 is going to be your follicular phase. So technically follicular is starting on day 1 and your menstrual is part of follicular, but I just like to explain it this way because I think it's easier to understand it in 4 separate parts.
Wait, so follicular and menstrual start at the same time?
Yes, but for the sake of explaining, let's just cut it into 4. So menstrual, follicular,
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So follicular, your hormones are going to start rising up a little bit. You're feeling a little bit more like energized and a little bit more like yourself. You're not as tired. You're not shedding that lining anymore. Things are building back up. Then going into number 3, the main event. This is literally what your body is meant to do, what your body prepares for every single month, ovulation. So a lot of people think like your period is the main event, but really it's actually ovulation because, like I said, that is what our bodies are meant to do, is ovulate and reproduce and have babies. So this is the time when all of your hormones are actually peaking. And
by when you say peaking, do you mean like, let's say if I were to take blood work, my hormones would be the highest in terms of like estrogen, progesterone would be the highest? Like, well, maybe it doesn't show on like blood markers, but like, does it?
Well, estrogen, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone are all at their highest. Progesterone is actually going to peak in luteal, but most of them are all peaking, and that would show up.
And it would show up. Wow, that's actually interesting. Yeah. So if you, sorry, side note, but good question. If you were to get your blood work done to get the most accurate, like, reading of where your baseline is, what would be the best phase to get it taken
most
in?
Accurate? Day 21.
Day 21 from the end of your period?
So day 1 is the first day you bleed.
Okay.
And then day 21. And that's if you have a 28-day cycle.
Okay.
Me personally, I have a little bit longer than 28 days, so I would do a little bit later
than
day 21. Okay. And fun fact, it's actually more accurate to test women's hormones with saliva and urine over blood.
Okay, fun fact, you guys, just want to put this out there. So when was this, like May? No, June. May or June? I don't remember when it was, but I was getting a period, but it was like every 5.5 weeks, and so I was talking to Morgan about it, just like, why don't we get things tested, et cetera, et cetera. My coach was like, I need to get my blood work done anyways. And so I did this spit saliva exam. I just said exam. This spit test. I was like literally wanting to gag. As like, I'm not trying to like deter anybody from like taking it, because you should, like, seriously. I mean, it was a cool experience in a way. The results were cool. But spitting in this jar.
Yeah, it is a lot of spit that you have to fill up.
1, it was a lot of spit, and 2, like, spit grosses me out so much. Yeah. So as I am spitting in this thing, I am sitting at my desk like, okay, I'm not even gonna let you guys suffer through. Just take it. Just do it.
I honestly prefer the Dutch test. It's a dried urine test.
I prefer
and
that.
It's way easier than the spit.
You should have told me to do that.
I know. It was way more expensive.
And I was already getting my blood done at the same time, too. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for saving me some money. Anyways, I totally derailed your conversation. But, okay, so we went through, so we did menstrual, then now we're in follicular. Right?
And then we talked about ovulation.
Yes, then we talked about ovulation.
That is when the egg is released into your fallopian tubes, and it's going to try to be fertilized.
Yes.
If it's not fertilized, obviously that's when you have your period, but we'll get to that. So, yeah, ovulation typically happens around day 14 for most women. Your temperature actually rises a little bit after ovulation, so that's personally how I track it. I have the Smart Ring. Through the Natural Cycles app, it takes my basal body temp every single morning, and when it thinks my ovulation is coming, I will get one of those LH test strips. And if your LH is surging, it's high, that is a pretty good sign that you're about to ovulate.
Interesting.
And then combine that with the higher body temps, it uses all that data to tell you that you ovulated.
So with just because I'm sure some people are wondering, especially those like maybe looking to get pregnant, where do you get the LH strips from?
I just get them on Amazon, but you can probably just get them from like Target, Walmart, anywhere.
Maybe a dumb question, but I just never used them. Do you pee on them?
Yeah,
or do
you just
spit?
pee on
them. Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. I'm like, thank God, you guys. If she said spit, there was just no way.
No, you just pee on them. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just like taking the pregnancy test, but. Yeah, another fun fact that most women don't know is that you can actually only get pregnant for about 5 or 6 days during your cycle.
Which blows my mind, because since I've been in like 8th grade, which is why we were talking about this in 8th grade, I don't even know, you're gonna get pregnant, and I'm like...
Abstinence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy how that is so pushed, because... Yeah, so why I say 5 to 6 days, even though ovulation is only a 1-day event, is because sperm can live inside your body for up to 5 days.
Those
So
nasty little studies.
yeah.
Slimies.
So like if you had that inside of you like a couple days before and then you
Yeah.
ovulated, like you could technically still conceive. So that's why
Really?
they say like 5 to 6 days. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, wow, so it can live for that long?
Yeah.
That's buck wild.
I know, isn't that
Dang.
crazy? Yeah, but
Let's
like
not counter that. I feel like you would think that's a fun fact about it.
yeah,
Okay.
tell him. I mean, it's just crazy that not only are we not taught that, but also we are so heavily pushed birth control
Yes.
when we're not even able to conceive for most of our cycle. So it's like if we were just taught about our bodies and what's actually happening and we just abstained from sex during that time. I mean, I know it's hard when you know, kids are younger to like track all that, but I just wish for me personally that my doctor would have explained that before just saying go on this every single day. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, there's such a deeper conversation around this because
that's a whole other episode.
it really is, and maybe like one, birth control is a whole other episode,
Yeah.
but two, gosh, I don't even know if I want to get into this, but I'm just gonna make a little comment. I didn't even go far into it, but like there was this study that was done that when sex education started in schools, prior to that, it was like a crazy number. Like 80% of kids would graduate still virgins.
Oh,
Once
wow.
sex education started, it was like drastically changed. And so it's like
Wow.
they educated people on like sex,
Yeah.
but then it almost just made them do it more, which
Right.
then probably also, I bet you if you look back at the studies,
Yeah.
I bet you there's some type of correlation between when that started and the surge of birth control.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a fact because I don't know. I'm just saying
No,
that that's
yeah,
would be
that would
something
make
interesting to
sense.
look at. Because then it's like, obviously, like if you hear that you're a kid or like you know that you are like sexually active, like yeah, like your first thing is you're told like you're gonna get pregnant, so you're gonna go get on birth control when you're
Right.
14
Mhm.
or 15 or 16 or whatever. Like all these kids in high school nowadays. Hopefully not 14. Oh my god, that sounds so young. But
I went on it when I was 15.
I did too.
It's not
No, I
much
didn't.
better.
I didn't get out when I was 15. I got out when I was 17.
Okay.
But that's because I didn't get my period till then.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, like I got it when I was like
Yeah.
15, and then I like didn't get it for a long time, and then I got it again.
Mhm.
Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah.
but yeah, super super interesting. So it's only those couple days that you can really get pregnant.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're 100% right. Like maybe that's where health class needs to
Yeah.
like talk about women's
Agreed.
hormones like that.
For sure. It's crazy. But yeah. So after ovulation.
Yeah, anyways.
So then after you ovulate, like I said, if the egg does not get fertilized, you go into your luteal phase, which we talked about earlier, is when PMS is going to be at its worst. You'll probably feel moody, irritable, just maybe less like yourself, I hear a lot from women. And you know, there is something to say that that's not normal. It is common, but it's not normal. And if you live an unbalanced or unhealthy lifestyle, you know, your hormones are going to be a little bit unbalanced, and that can cause worse PMS. So we can do another episode on that, but I just wanted to briefly touch on the 4 phases, and then we're going to get into more about like workouts for those phases.
Yeah.
But
I do want to touch
yeah.
on something though really fast
Yeah.
because ever since I did get off birth control and I've been learning a lot from you about these things, one, it's made me a lot more aware throughout the month. Like when I am having certain thoughts,
Mhm.
I'm like, I can like almost test myself, like say like, is this me or is this the phase that I am in?
Mhm.
And that has really allowed me to like keep in check like my attitude, my mood, like
Yeah.
making me is this emotion like being exacerbated because of where I'm at in my cycle? It does make me a lot more aware, and honestly, as crazy as this sounds, I feel like, you know, because I feel like a lot of our husbands, boyfriends, fiancés, like they're the ones that are like, oh, my girlfriend's acting crazy, oh, you know, whatever. And so I feel like it's helped me like really control that, or like I'll know like, okay, I know I'm really emotional right now, so I'm gonna hold off on having this conversation.
Mhm.
You know, even if it's not really that intense of a conversation, I know because I may be a little more emotional, because I'm aware of where I'm at,
Yeah.
I can say, let me take a pause and talk about this in a week.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, it's just bringing that awareness to it, like we've talked about before, because then you can make decisions based
Yeah.
on that. You can maybe give yourself grace if you're not hitting your PR in the gym and your luteal phase. Like, just being more in tune with your body
Yeah.
and feeling like you're on the same page instead of like fighting against it, I feel.
Totally, yeah. I love it.
Alright, so let's get into workouts for each phase, how to cycle sync your workouts. So starting back with menstrual phase, number 1, think of this as winter. I really like to equate each phase to a different season. I think it just makes it a lot easier to understand. So think of in the winter what you're doing. You're slowing down, you're resting a lot more, you're turning inwards, you're kind of like reflecting on things and maybe like planning for your upcoming month. So this is a really good time to do lower impact, lower intensity workouts. So think walking, yin yoga where you're holding the poses for a long time, even just like resting if you don't feel up to a workout because your body is literally shedding part of itself. Like, don't push it. This is going back to what you said, like a really good time to give your body grace and just do what you feel called to do. Obviously it can differ based on month to month, but if you are feeling active and you do want to do something, like I said, yoga, walks, taking a nice bath, things like that I think are great during this phase. And then as for follicular phase number 2, your hormones are getting a little bit higher, they're gearing back up, you're going to get a little bit more energy. So think strength training, HIIT workouts, heavy lifting, even like Pilates and resistance workouts. And it's a great time to increase the intensity, as I said, or like your volume, or like the amount of workouts that you're doing. So, and then going into ovulation, again, that's when your hormones are all about peaking, so you're gonna have even more energy. Again, a good time for high intensity workouts, heavy lifting. Group classes are great during this time. Just think of like your max effort type of thing. This is when your energy is going to be at its highest, so you can take advantage of that. More social outings are great during this time as well. And then closing out with luteal, again, things are going to be, tapering off. Your energy is kind of waning at this time. You're gearing up to get your period again. So again, think lower impact workouts. You can do strength training if you feel up to it, but again, don't push it. I think in the earlier luteal phase, you're going to have more energy, and then late luteal, right before your period, is when things are going to drop off. So again, just do what feels right with your body, do what feels right with your energy levels. Pilates is great again during this time, yoga again, and then the cycle starts all over again. So like I said, the 4 seasons are what I like to equate it to. So as I already said, menstrual is winter, follicular is spring, ovulation is summer, and luteal is fall. So I think that helps.
Yeah, just kind of like tie what you're doing to what your body might be feeling is kind of the best
and
way
I just give these suggestions as suggestions. Like I said, if you feel called to do something more and you have the energy for it, great, go out and do it. But it's more so to give you guys the awareness that if you are not feeling up to it, don't push it. Because if you are fighting against your body and you're trying to do like these max reps when you're in your late luteal phase, that's just going to end up in worse PMS, burnout. Like, it's not going to be helping you in any way, if that makes sense.
So I think what's interesting for me is, and there's definitely, like, we definitely will not see this eye to eye, but also that's why we have this podcast, is to talk about both things. So for me, when you think about making progress in the gym and you're thinking about progressive overload because your goal as a bodybuilder or somebody that's really trying to put on muscle is to grow muscle.
Mm-hmm.
If there's 4 weeks or 4 seasons, if there's only 2 out of the 4 seasons that you can lift hard in progressive overload, you can't grow muscle only working that hard 50% of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think what I have noticed for myself, and I'm just speaking on behalf of me, is I actually don't really notice too much change throughout the month in terms of how I feel in the gym. Now, that could be a mental thing just because I love the gym and it's like also a big mental release for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will say is that even though, 50% of progressive overload out of the year isn't going to cut it, what I will say is learning about this is maybe I'm not cycle syncing my workouts, but everyone listening, if you're an avid gym goer or you're just someone that does activity, like, you know how hard on yourself you can be when you don't get those 12 reps because last week you get 10 reps because last week you got 12.
Yeah.
Or maybe that one week you couldn't add that extra 5 pounds, or you're stuck at the same weight for 2 to 3 weeks. Like, now you have an explanation.
Yes.
And so I think that's where I want to marry the two, right? Where like, I might not be particularly, not that I don't believe in it, but because I think it's amazing, but I'm not marrying my cycle to my workouts, because the only way to reach my goals in the bodybuilding and muscle building gym is I have to do it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But it does give me a peace of mind and gives me that grace that you were talking about to like, if I am like really having to pull myself off the couch that day, I know why.
Right.
Or if I don't hit a PR for 2 weeks in a row and I'm busting myself up about it, I know why.
Right.
Or like, if I'm on my period and I'm having really intense cramps and stuff, yeah, okay, probably from something I did that month, but at least I know when I get into the gym, like, let's just get into the gym and do what I can because I'm in this phase. So like I said, even though I'm not syncing my workouts with my cycle, it does provide me the awareness to give myself the grace in the gym when I do need it, because I have to be 100% as many days of the month that I can.
Yeah. No, I understand that 100%.
Yeah.
And that's all I want with this episode is for our listeners to get that awareness.
Yes.
And not compare themselves to, say, men who can
100%.
grind and go hard every single day
100%.
for weeks on end, because it's just not the same for us.
It's
and
not. And
I'm glad that you got that awareness too.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, well, and I think that's like in the very first episode, I remember I had said like the things that, yes, I might be in bodybuilding, and yes, you might be in holistic health, and maybe someone listening might not be into health and fitness at all yet, or they're just starting their journey, or they're just general love to go to the gym, or they're just, you know, love yoga and Pilates. It doesn't matter. You can take something from every single thing, and like, that's why you and I can have these conversations, because it's like, maybe it's not like I'm a little bit here and you're a little bit here, but like, we can do this to create a better overall balance of what we're doing mentally and physically. And I just love that, because I learned so much on cycle syncing from you. Obviously, I don't know a lot about it, but from what I have learned from you, it has allowed me to be so much more aware and tailor, you know, change things and give myself a little more grace. And I know I've already said all this stuff, but like, I just love that I'm not someone that's sitting here like, no, this has to be it. And you're not one sitting there and be like, no, if you're not doing yoga when you're menstruating, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would never say
like,
that.
I know, and I wouldn't either. But it's like, I think that's such the cool thing about what we're doing and what we're trying to do is bringing all the different forms together. Because the more aware you are, the more educated you can be on what works for your body.
Yeah, and that's all I want for like all the women listening is to feel the
100%.
same.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I actually have a question for you. So, obviously, like, we talked about the 4 different phases, like, how you're feeling in those phases, like, workouts, giving yourself grace, like, things like that. Like, you have an awesome Instagram page. If you guys are not following Morgan's Mindful Healing, literally go follow her. I probably forward your page to people, like, 3 times a week. Anyways, but you post a lot of different recipes on there, and I've noticed, like, you'll put, like, if you're craving this during your luteal phase, like, recipe for your luteal phase, or, like, recipe for your menstrual phase, and like, you'll post like your food and what you're eating. How do you determine what to eat during those phases? Like, what makes certain ingredients or foods like good for certain phases, I guess?
I love that question, and thank you for the compliment. It really is coming down to micronutrients.
Okay.
So like right now, I'm on my period, so I'm really trying to focus on iron, because we lose a lot of iron in our blood. Magnesium, it's really good for cramps. Zinc, B vitamins, that's kind of like my focus right now. And then during ovulation, I'm really trying to focus on fiber and omega-3s. Fiber helps to like detox those excess hormones so that you don't end up storing them later.
Like a fish oil? Or like, or I guess that would be like a pill, but you're talking about through food.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about through food, but...
Oh wait, and you actually said fiber, not oil. I'm sorry. Oh, guys, I apologize already.
I said both, but yeah, fiber is going to help.
Brain.
Fiber is going to help detox those excess hormones. Because like I said, when you're ovulating, all of your hormones are peaking. So.
Yes.
And then, yeah, omega-3s are good for then hormone production later on. So, yeah, I mean, I don't do it so strict like that, but I just have that in the back of my mind when I'm planning my grocery list for the week.
Yeah.
I think about where I'm at in my cycle and what I'm going to need. Also, another good way to look at it, as we said, the seasons. So when you are in your luteal phase and when you're on your period, warming foods are actually really good for your menstrual phase. So like soups and stews and like hot teas are good for like the womb, and that's a ancient Chinese medicine practice. If you guys are into Ayurveda, that's a whole other episode.
Oh wait, now I'm kind of interested in this.
Yeah, and then going along with that, like cooling foods during follicular ovulation, so like cucumber and watermelon, and you can get really like granular with it.
Okay, wait, hold on. Question though.
Yeah.
With the phases, so I am not really someone that gets a lot of cravings, so I eat the same stuff literally every single day. But if you are someone that does have cravings, do your cravings kind of coincide with those like seasons, like when you're in your like winter, like the winter phase, like is that when people like tend to crave more like carbs and warm stuff, or is it just good for your body too?
I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah.
I kind of do crave like comforting stuff during that time, but it also is just good for you.
Yeah.
And then going along with that, what I also wanted to mention is a lot of women I see are like beating themselves up when they're in their menstrual phase that they are hungrier.
Yes.
And luteal as well. And I just want to say that it is okay to eat more calories during those phases.
Your body is burning more calories during them phases.
Exactly, and like you need them. So it's again going back to the awareness, just not beating yourself up over like, oh, why am I so hungry when I always eat this much food? Well, where are you at in your cycle, you know? And adding in like more complex carbs, like sweet potatoes and apples are going to be great in luteal and menstrual phase. And then, yeah, if you find yourself being a little bit less hungry, follicular ovulation, like that's fine. It's it's a rhythm. Like we're cyclical beings as women, and that's normal.
It's funny because, like, obviously, like I said, I have a meal plan, right? And so I'm eating the same things all the time and the same amounts all the time. Like, I have high days, low days, like, whatever, when I'm in my off-season and stuff. But I do notice, like, if I am hungrier on my plan, I'm like, shoot, yeah, my period's definitely coming. But, like, that is what's so great about an episode like this. Like, because I've gotten off birth control and I've learned a lot from this and I've, like, done all this stuff, like, I'm so more in tune now that like I can kind of just like tell when my period's coming because of the way that I feel, because I didn't hit that PR, because I'm a little bit hungrier, maybe because I felt a little bit moodier last week and had to kind of shut my brain off in different ways, like just all the things. Yeah.
So true. And like, yeah, then you don't have to beat yourself up over like, oh, why am I hungrier right now, you know? Yeah. It's just good to know, I think. Okay, so that was the 4 phases and cycle syncing your workouts and food. Please share this with another woman in your life who has a cycle, who it could be helpful for, and make sure you give us a thumbs up or rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. We'll definitely be monitoring the comments. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, and you're welcome to send us any topics you'd like us to cover there and any questions about this episode.
Yes.
All right, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.